My fiancé slapped me over a dress and married my maid of honor at my wedding in front of 200 guests. I still remember the sound his hand made when it connected with my face, that sharp crack that echoed through the bridal suite, the way my head snapped to the side, the metallic taste of blood in my mouth. My name is Rachel, and I'm telling you this story because I need someone to know what really happened that day. What everyone saw was bad enough. What they didn't see was so much worse. I should probably start by saying that I thought Robert was the one. I really did. We'd been together for 3 years, engaged for 6 months, and I genuinely believed we were building something real. He was a financial analyst at Henderson & Associates, one of those firms with glass offices on the 40th floor, and espresso machines that cost more than my first car. I worked in marketing at a tech startup in River North. We had a nice apartment in Chicago with exposed brick walls and tall windows, 2 cats named Pepper and Salt, and a wedding planned for May 15th at the Blackstone Hotel. Everything was perfect, or at least I thought it was. Looking back now, I can see the cracks. The way Robert would get annoyed when I took too long getting ready. The way he'd roll his eyes when I got excited about wedding planning. The way he started working late more. And more often, coming home smelling like perfume that wasn't mine. But I explained it all away. He was stressed at work. He wasn't interested in wedding stuff because he was a guy. The perfume was from female co-workers at happy hour. I was so good at lying to myself. The first time I should have noticed something was really wrong was about 2 months before the wedding. My maid of honor, Jessica, started coming over more often. She'd always been my best friend since college at Northwestern, the person I told everything to, the one who held my hair back when I got food poisoning sophomore year from that sketchy burrito place on Sherman Avenue. We'd been through everything together. Bad boyfriends, failed exams, her mom's cancer scare, my dad's job loss. She was my person, but something had shifted. She'd show up in these tight dresses when she knew Robert would be home from work. She'd laugh too loud at his jokes, that high-pitched giggle that wasn't her real laugh. She'd touch his arm when she talked to him, let her hand linger just a second too long. She started asking detailed questions about our relationship. Were we happy? Did we ever fight? Was the intimacy still good? I told myself I was being paranoid. Jessica would never do that to me. We'd made a pact freshman year that we'd never let a guy come between us. We'd seen too many friendships destroyed by boys who weren't worth it. And Robert, he barely seemed to notice her. He'd nod politely at her jokes and then go back to his phone or his laptop or whatever he was working on. God, I was so stupid. The dress situation started 3 weeks before the wedding. I'd found my dream dress at a boutique called Bella Rosa in Lincoln Park. It was this gorgeous off-white gown with delicate French lace sleeves and a cathedral train that pooled on the floor like water. The bodice had tiny seed pearls sewn into intricate patterns, and the back had these beautiful covered buttons that went all the way down to my waist. It cost $6,000, which was more than I'd planned to spend, way more. But my mom had given me money specifically for the dress from the life insurance policy my grandmother left her, and I fell in love with it the moment I put it on. The woman at the boutique, Maria, had tears in her eyes when she zipped me up. "You look like you stepped out of a fairy tale," she said. Jessica was with me when I bought it. She took about 50 pictures from every angle. She cried happy tears and hugged me so tight I could barely breathe. She said I looked like a princess, like Grace Kelly, like everything beautiful in the world. "Robert is the luckiest man alive," she said. "Seriously, Rachel, you're going to make such a beautiful bride." 2 weeks later, she called me in tears at 11 p.m. on a Tuesday. I was already in bed, but I answered anyway because that's what you do for your best friend. She'd been invited to her ex-boyfriend's wedding, Tyler, the one who'd broken her heart junior year, who'd cheated on her with a girl from his finance class and then acted like Jessica was crazy for being upset about it. She had nothing to wear. She couldn't show up in some old dress. She needed to look amazing, needed to show him what he'd lost. Could she maybe, possibly borrow something from me? I told her, of course. We were the same size, both size 6, same height, same build. I had plenty of dresses she could choose from. I had that navy blue one from my cousin's wedding, or the red cocktail dress I'd worn to Robert's company holiday party, or the floral one from last summer that I'd only worn once. But that's not what she wanted. "What about your wedding dress?" she asked. Her voice was small, hesitant. I laughed. I actually laughed out loud. "Jess, I can't lend you my wedding dress. It's my wedding dress, for my wedding, in 2 weeks. No, she said quickly. I mean, what if I borrowed it for some photos? For my social media? I'm trying to make him jealous, you know? Show him what he's missing. Like, look at me. I could be getting married too. I could be this happy too. I'd be so careful with it. I wouldn't even take it out of your apartment. We could do the photos in your living room. I'd have it back to you in an hour. 2 hours tops." Something felt off about it, but she was crying, really sobbing now. And she was my best friend, and I wanted to help her feel better. I wanted to be the kind of friend who showed up when things were hard. I said no anyway. Some voice in my head, some instinct I couldn't quite name, told me not to. "I'm sorry, Jess," I said. "I just can't. It's too important. What if something happened to it? What if there was a spill or a tear? I'd be devastated. You understand, right?" There was a long pause on the other end of the line. "Yeah," she said finally. Her voice was cold now, flat. "I understand. It's just a dress. It's fine. I can bring over the other dresses tomorrow," I offered. "We can figure something out. We'll make you look so good that Tyler will regret every decision he's ever made." "Don't worry about it," Jessica said. "I'll figure something out on my own." She hung up before I could say goodbye. I texted her the next day to apologize again, to ask if she was okay, to suggest suggest we go shopping together for a new dress. She responded with, I'm fine, and nothing else. She didn't bring up the dress again. Not to me anyway. But she did start acting weird. She canceled our weekly brunch that Sunday. She said she couldn't make it to my bachelorette party because of a work thing, even though she was the one who'd planned it. When I called her, she'd let it go to voicemail. When I texted, her responses were short, 1 or 2 words. I asked her if something was wrong, if I'd done something to upset her. She said no, she was just busy with work, stressed about a big project. She'd be better after it was over. I believed her, because I wanted to, because the alternative was too painful to consider. The night before the wedding, I stayed at my parents' house in Wilmette. It was tradition. My mom wanted to do the whole thing properly, the way her mother had done it, the way her grandmother had done it. The bride stays with her family the night before, and the groom isn't supposed to see her until she walks down the aisle. My dad kept getting emotional every time he looked at me. He'd tear up in the middle of dinner, or while we were watching TV, or when I passed him in the hallway. My younger sister, Amanda, was running around making sure all the flower girl details were perfect for my niece, Sophie, who was 4 and extremely excited about getting to throw flower petals. Not too many at once, Amanda kept telling her. Just a few at a time. Like this, see? Sophie would nod seriously and then immediately forget and throw entire handfuls of fake petals all over my parents' living room. My mom made my favorite dinner, chicken parmesan with angel hair pasta, garlic bread, Caesar salad. We ate in the dining room with the good china, and my dad made a toast about how proud he was, how he'd known from the moment I was born that I was destined for great things. You were so determined even as a baby, he said, his voice cracking. When you wanted something, you didn't give up until you got it. And tomorrow, you're getting everything you've ever wanted. A husband who loves you, a beautiful wedding, the start of a wonderful life. I felt tears in my eyes. Happy tears, I thought. Just happy tears. Robert texted me around 11 p.m., right as I was getting ready for bed in my childhood bedroom with the faded wallpaper I'd picked out when I was 12. Can't wait to marry you tomorrow. I love you so much. You're going to be the most beautiful bride in the world. I texted back 3 heart emojis and I love you too. See you at the altar. I fell asleep smiling, my phone clutched in my hand, dreaming about tomorrow. The morning of the wedding, I woke up to sunlight streaming through my window and my phone vibrating so hard it fell off the nightstand. 17 missed calls from my wedding planner, Catherine. 4 missed calls from Jessica. 3 missed calls from Robert. And 1 text from a number I didn't recognize. You need to know the truth about Robert and Jessica. I'm sorry. My hands were shaking when I called Catherine back. Rachel, she said, and her voice was strange, tight, stressed in a way I'd never heard before. You need to get to the hotel. Now. Right now. What's wrong? Catherine, what happened? Is something broken? Did the flowers not arrive? Is there a problem with the caterers? Just get here, please. I can't explain over the phone. My heart was pounding. Catherine, you're scaring me. Tell me what's going on. Your dress, she said. Rachel, your dress is gone. The world tilted. What do you mean gone? Gone where? Did the boutique not deliver it? No, it was delivered yesterday. I checked it myself. It was hanging in your suite, in the garment bag, exactly where it was supposed to be. But when I went in this morning to start setting up, it was gone. The garment bag is empty. And there's a note. What kind of note? Catherine's voice dropped to almost a whisper. I think you need to see it for yourself. I threw on jeans and the Northwestern sweatshirt I'd slept in and drove to the Blackstone with my heart in my throat. My mom came with me, already in her mother of the bride dress, a beautiful champagne-colored gown she'd bought specially for today. Her face was pale, her lips pressed into a thin line. There has to be an explanation, she kept saying. There has to be a logical explanation. Maybe someone moved it. Maybe housekeeping put it somewhere safe. But I knew. Even before we got there, some part of me knew. When we got to the bridal suite on the 3rd floor, Catherine was standing outside the door with 2 hotel security guards and the hotel manager, a thin man in a perfect suit who looked deeply uncomfortable. I need to prepare you for what you're about to see, Catherine said. She looked like she'd been crying, but she didn't prepare me. Nothing could have prepared me. The suite was beautiful. Huge windows overlooking Michigan Avenue, plush furniture in cream and gold, a massive mirror with lights around it like a movie star's dressing room. There were flowers everywhere, white roses and peonies, exactly like I'd ordered. My veil was laid out on the sofa. My shoes were lined up by the door. My jewelry was arranged on the vanity, but my wedding dress was gone. The garment bag was there, unzipped and empty, lying on the floor like a discarded skin. My veil was on the floor too, partially crushed, like someone had stepped on it. And there was a note on the vanity, written on hotel stationery in handwriting I recognized immediately. Jessica's handwriting. Her distinctive loops, the way she dotted her eyes with little circles. He deserves someone better, someone like me, someone who actually makes him happy. I'm sorry, Rachel, but this is how it has to be. We're in love. We have been for a long time. You'll understand eventually. You'll see that this is actually good for everyone. I read it 3 times before my brain could process the words. Each time, they made less sense and more sense simultaneously. Where is she? I asked Catherine. My voice sounded weird, distant, like it was coming from underwater. We don't know. She had a key to the suite. She told the front desk she needed to drop off a gift for you early this morning. The hotel staff saw her leave around 6 a.m. carrying a large garment bag. They didn't think anything of it. They thought maybe she was taking it to get steamed or something. My mom grabbed the note from my hands. She read it and her face went from pale to red in about 2 seconds. That little, she started, but I was already calling Jessica. No answer. It went straight to voicemail. Her voicemail was full. I called Robert. No answer. One ring, then voicemail. He'd declined my call. I called Jessica's mom, Diane, who'd been like a second mother to me in college. She answered on the third ring. Rachel, congratulations. I'm so excited for today. Are you getting ready? Do you need anything? Is Jessica with you? Jessica? No, honey. She left early this morning. She said she needed to go help you get ready. Isn't she there? She's not here. Diane, do you have any idea where she might be? There was a pause. Is something wrong? I didn't know how to answer that. If you hear from her, please call me. It's important. I called Jessica's sister, Amber. No answer. I called her roommate, Kelsey. She hadn't seen Jessica since yesterday evening. She came home around 7, took a really long shower, and then left again around 9, Kelsey said. She seemed weird, nervous. I asked her if she was okay, and she said she was fine, just pre-wedding jitters. I figured she meant your wedding jitters, like she was nervous about the maid of honor stuff. 200 guests were going to arrive in 3.5 hours. I had no wedding dress. My maid of honor had stolen it and disappeared with some kind of manifesto about being in love with my fiancé, and said fiancé wasn't answering his phone. We need to call the police, my mom said. Her voice was shaking. We need to cancel the wedding, my sister said. She'd just arrived, still in her pajamas, her hair in a messy bun. Rachel, we have to cancel. We can't do this. Not like this. The hotel manager cleared his throat. I'm so sorry this has happened. This is absolutely unprecedented. We take security very seriously, and I assure you, we'll be conducting a full investigation. In terms of the wedding itself, I understand if you need to cancel. We can discuss refunds and— No, I said. The word came out hard, sharp. We're not canceling anything. Everyone stared at me. Catherine looked at me like I'd lost my mind. Maybe I had. Rachel, honey, you don't have a dress. You don't have a maid of honor. Your fiancé isn't answering his phone. I know this is hard, but I said no. I looked at my mom, at my sister, at Catherine. 200 people are coming. They've bought plane tickets and booked hotel rooms. They've taken time off work. They've bought gifts. We have a venue and food and flowers and a string quartet. We have everything we need for a wedding except the dress and the groom. Rachel, that's kind of the important part, Amanda said gently. Then I'll get another dress. Catherine, call every bridal shop in Chicago. Tell them it's an emergency. Tell them I'll pay double, triple, whatever they want. I need a dress in the next 3 hours. My mom put her hand on my arm. Honey, maybe we should take a minute to think about this. You're in shock. We all are. Let's just sit down and— Mom, I looked at her, really looked at her, and saw my own pain reflected in her eyes. I am not letting them win. I am not letting Jessica and Robert humiliate me like this. Not after everything. Not after 3 years of my life. Not after all the money we spent. All the planning, all the hoping. I'm getting married today. To who? Amanda asked quietly. That stopped me, because she was right. Who was I marrying if Robert was gone? If Robert was in love with Jessica? If Robert had been lying to me for who knows how long? I don't know, I said, but I'm not canceling. I'm not hiding. I'm not running away. Whatever happens today, I'm showing up. My mom and sister exchanged looks, but Catherine was already on the phone. Here's the thing about weddings. Everyone tells you they're about love and commitment and two families coming together, about finding your soulmate and pledging eternal devotion, about romance and happily ever after. But they're also about money, deposits, contracts, vendors who won't refund a cent if you cancel less than 48 hours before the event. 200 people who've invested time and money and energy into celebrating with you. And pride. They're definitely about pride. I wasn't going to let Jessica and Robert take that from me. I wasn't going to let them turn me into a victim, into a sad story people would tell at dinner parties. Did you hear about that poor girl whose fiancé left her at the altar? No. If this was going to be a story, it was going to be my story. We found a dress at a boutique in Evanston called the White Magnolia. The owner, a woman named Patricia who had to be in her 70s, took one look at me standing in her store in jeans and a sweatshirt with tears streaming down my face and said, "Tell me what happened." I told her everything. The note, the missing dress, Robert not answering his phone. She listened without interrupting, and when I was done, she took my hand. "That dress," she said, "was never your dress. It was just fabric and thread. Your real dress is the one you'll wear today while you hold your head high. Now let's find you something that makes you feel like the strong, beautiful woman you are." She pulled out a simple A-line gown in ivory silk. It wasn't fancy. No lace sleeves, no seed pearls, no cathedral train, just clean lines and elegant simplicity. It was 2 sizes too big, but Patricia had a seamstress in the back who'd come in on her day off just to help. "She can have it ready in 2 hours, Patricia said. "And I'm not charging you a cent. This one's on the house." "I can't let you do that," I said. "It's too much." "Honey," Patricia said, "I've been in the wedding business for 45 years. I've seen a lot of brides on their wedding days. Happy ones, nervous ones, crying ones. But I've never seen a bride deal with what you're dealing with and still insist on showing up. That takes courage. Real courage. So yes, you can let me do this. Consider it my contribution to your act of defiance." I hugged her and cried on her shoulder, and she patted my back and told me everything was going to be all right. By noon, I was back at the hotel, being zipped into my backup dress while my makeup artist, Vanessa, tried to cover the fact that I'd been crying for 3 hours straight. My eyes were puffy and red. My face was blotchy. I looked exactly like what I was, a woman whose world had just imploded. "We can work with this," Vanessa said determinedly. She pulled out every trick she had. "Ice packs, eye drops, concealer, highlighter. By the time I'm done, you're going to look like a goddess. Trust me." Robert finally called at 12:30. I was sitting in front of the mirror while Vanessa did my hair, piling it up into an elegant updo with small white flowers woven through it. When my phone rang and his name appeared on the screen, my heart stopped. "Hey babe," he said, like nothing was wrong. Like this was just a normal sad Saturday. Sorry I missed your calls earlier. I was at the gym getting ready for the big day. Didn't want to be all sweaty in the photos, you know? Are you excited? I'm excited. Just a few more hours and you'll be Mrs. Robert Chen. I felt something break inside me. Just snap like a bone. Like the last thread of hope I'd been holding on to. Where's Jessica? I asked. My voice was calm. Too calm. There was a pause. Just a second too long. A hesitation that told me everything I needed to know. How should I know? Isn't she with you? Maid of honor duties and all that? You guys are probably doing champagne and getting your nails done or whatever. He was lying. I could hear it in his voice. That slight uptick at the end of his sentences. The way he talked too fast. The way he'd said babe just a little too casually. Like he was trying too hard to sound normal. Robert, I said slowly, carefully. If you know where my wedding dress is, you need to tell me right now. Another pause. Longer this time? Your wedding dress? What are you talking about? Isn't it there? At the hotel? Rachel, are you okay? Are you having cold feet or something? Because we can talk about this. It's normal to be nervous. Marriage is a big step. But we love each other, right? We're good together. Each word felt like a knife because he was still lying, still pretending, still acting like he hadn't betrayed me in the worst possible way. My dress is gone, Robert. Someone took it from my suite, and there was a note from Jessica saying that she's in love with you, saying that you're in love with her, saying that you deserve someone better than me. Silence. Long, heavy silence. And then, Rachel, I don't know what kind of game Jessica is playing, but I swear to you, I have no idea what you're talking about. She's your friend. Why would she do something like that? Are you sure you're not just stressed? Maybe you misunderstood the note. Maybe I hung up on him. My hands were shaking so badly I almost dropped the phone. Vanessa had stopped doing my hair and was staring at me with wide eyes. Oh, honey, she said softly. I'm fine, I said, but tears were running down my face, ruining the makeup she'd just finished. I'm fine. Just fix my face, please. Just fix it. She fixed it. She was a miracle worker. By the time she was done, I looked almost normal. Almost like a bride who was about to have the happiest day of her life instead of the worst. My mom was watching me with worried eyes. She'd been in and out of the suite all morning, handling things, making calls, talking to vendors, being the strong one so I didn't have to be. Honey, she said when Vanessa was finally done, maybe we should. Don't, I said. Please don't. I know what you're going to say. I know this is crazy. I know I should cancel, but I can't. I won't. I need to see this through. She nodded slowly. Okay, then let's do this. The ceremony was supposed to start at 2 p.m. At 1:45, I was in the bride's room off the main ballroom, listening to the string quartet play Vivaldi while guests filed in. I could hear them through the door, laughing, talking, completely oblivious to the disaster that was unfolding behind the scenes. My bridesmaids kept coming in to check on me. My college roommate Emily, my cousin Natalie, Amanda. They were all wearing their dusty rose dresses, looking beautiful and concerned and like they had no idea what to say to me. You look gorgeous, Emily said. That dress is perfect on you. Do you need anything? Natalie asked. Water? Food? Someone to punch Robert in the face? That made me smile a little. Maybe later. Amanda wouldn't leave my side. She held my hand and didn't ask questions. Didn't try to fix anything. Just stayed with me. You don't have to do this, she whispered. Rachel, if something's wrong, we can figure it out. We can make an announcement. I have to, I said. I don't know why, but I have to. At 1:55, Catherine came to get me. Her face was white, completely drained of color. Rachel, she said. Her voice was shaking. Jessica is here. The world stopped spinning. What? She's in the ballroom. She just walked in. She's wearing, Catherine's voice cracked. She's wearing a wedding dress. Time seemed to slow down. Every second stretched into an eternity. I could hear my heartbeat in my ears, loud and fast. Take me to her, I said. Rachel, I don't think now. Take me now. Catherine led me to the small window in the door that led from the bride's room to the back of the ballroom. It was one of those one-way windows where I could see out but no one could see in. I looked through it and there she was. Jessica, my best friend. The girl I'd known for 8 years. The girl who'd been there through everything. Standing in the back of the ballroom in my wedding dress. My actual wedding dress with the French lace sleeves and the cathedral train pooling on the floor around her feet. Her hair was done up in an elaborate updo, even more elaborate than mine. She was wearing my grandmother's necklace, the one I'd planned to wear as my something borrowed. She had a bouquet of white roses in her hands. She looked beautiful. She looked like a bride, and Robert was walking toward her. I watched him move down the side aisle, past confused guests who were turning in their seats to look. He was wearing his tuxedo, the one we'd picked out together at that shop on Oak Street, the one that cost a fortune but made him look like James Bond. He stopped in front of Jessica. He took her hands. He smiled at her the way he'd smiled at me 1,000 times. That slow smile that started in his eyes and spread across his face. The smile that used to make my heart skip. And then I understood. This wasn't a theft. This wasn't some sudden decision. This wasn't Jessica having a breakdown and stealing my dress on impulse. This was a plan. They'd planned this together. Probably for weeks. Maybe months. My hands started shaking so badly that Amanda had to hold on to me to keep me upright. What do we do? Catherine was asking frantically. Should I call security? The police? Rachel, talk to me. What do you want me to do? But I was already moving. I pushed open the door to the ballroom and walked down the side aisle. I was wearing my simple ivory dress, my hair in an updo, my face perfectly made up. I looked like a bride. But I felt like I was walking to my execution. Every head turned to look at me. 200 guests, all dressed in their wedding finest, all staring at the bride in the wrong dress walking toward the groom who was holding hands with another woman in the right dress. The string quartet stopped playing. The silence was deafening. Robert saw me first. His face went from confused to shocked to guilty to angry in about 5 seconds. Rachel, he said. What are you doing here? You're supposed to be in the bride's room. You're not supposed to see me before the ceremony. It's bad luck. I almost laughed. Bad luck. As if we hadn't blown past bad luck about 3 exits ago. What am I doing? I said loudly. Loud enough for everyone to hear. I'm getting married. That's what I'm doing. That's what we planned. What all these people came here to see. 200 people, Robert. 200 people who took time out of their lives to celebrate with us. Jessica was crying. Actual tears running down her face, smudging the makeup she'd put on so carefully. Rachel, I'm so sorry. I didn't want it to happen like this. But Robert and I were in love. We have been for months. You have to understand. I have to understand. My voice cracked. You stole my wedding dress. You're standing in my wedding venue, at my wedding, in my dress, holding my fiancé's hands, wearing my grandmother's necklace. What exactly do I have to understand? The ballroom was dead silent. 200 people holding their breath. I could see my parents in the front row. My dad half standing like he wanted to come to me but didn't know if he should. I could see Robert's parents looking horrified. I could see our friends and family and co-workers all frozen in shock. Jessica wiped at her tears, but they kept coming. We didn't mean for it to happen. It just did. We couldn't help it. Robert and I, we just connect on this deeper level. We have the same sense of humor, the same values, the same dreams for the future. Then why didn't you just tell me? I asked. My voice was smaller now, broken. Why didn't you just break up with me, Robert? Why did you have to do it like this? Robert let go of Jessica's hands. He walked toward me, and I saw something in his eyes I'd never seen before. Something mean, something cruel. You want to know the truth? He said. His voice was cold. Fine, I'll tell you the truth. Jessica and I have been together for 6 months. Since New Year's. Since your office party when you got drunk and embarrassed me in front of my boss. I remembered that night. I'd had 3 glasses of champagne on an empty stomach and gotten a little tipsy, a little loud. I'd thought it was funny. I'd thought Robert had thought it was funny. We started texting that night. Robert continued. Just friendly at first, but then it became more. Because Jessica actually gets me, Rachel. She's everything you're not. She's fun. She's spontaneous. She doesn't spend 2 hours every morning doing her makeup and hair. She doesn't freak out if I leave dishes in the sink or forget to take out the trash. She doesn't need everything to be perfect all the time. She's real. Each word was a punch to the gut. I felt like I couldn't breathe. Then why didn't you just break up with me? I asked again. Why go through with all of this? Because of this. He gestured around the ballroom. Because you'd already put deposits down on everything. Because your parents spent all this money. Because my parents invited all their friends from the country club. Because it was easier to just go through with it and then get divorced in a year or 2 after everything calmed down. After people forgot about the wedding and moved on. My mom made a sound behind me. Like a wounded animal. Like her heart was breaking for me. But then Jessica and I realized we couldn't do it. Robert continued. His voice was getting louder, more passionate, like he was making a speech. We couldn't lie anymore. We couldn't pretend. We love each other too much. So we decided to be honest, to do this right, today, here, in front of everyone, to show everyone that real love can't be hidden, that when you find your person, your real person, you can't let society's rules or expectations or someone's hurt feelings get in the way. He turned back to Jessica and took her hands again. Jessica, I know this isn't how we planned it. I know we were going to tell Rachel privately, try to do this gently, but I can't wait anymore. I can't stand here in this tuxedo and pretend I'm going to marry someone else when the only person I want to marry is you. So I'm asking you now in front of everyone, will you marry me? Today, right now? Jessica was sobbing, full body sobs that made her shoulders shake. She nodded frantically. Yes, Robert, I will. I love you so much. And that's when something inside me just snapped completely. All the pain, all the humiliation, all the betrayal. It crystallized into pure, white-hot rage. I walked up to Robert, right up to him, close enough to smell his cologne, the Tom Ford one I'd bought him for Christmas, close enough to see the stubble he'd missed when he shaved that morning. You're going to marry her? I said, my voice was eerily calm. Right now? At the wedding you planned with me? Using the venue I booked? The officiant I hired? The food I chose? The flowers I selected? In front of all these people? Yes, he said, and he smiled. Actually smiled, like he was proud of himself. I am, because I love her. Because she's my future. And you know what, Rachel? You should be thanking us. We're saving you from a marriage that would have been miserable. From spending your life with someone who was settling for you. The word settling hit me like a slap. And you're okay with this? I asked Jessica. I looked at my former best friend. At the girl I'd shared everything with. This is what you want? To marry a man at his fiancé's wedding? To wear my dress and use my ceremony and take my life? She lifted her chin. There was something defiant in her eyes now. Something hard. I love him, Rachel. I'm sorry, but I do. I love him more than you ever could. You don't understand him like I do. You don't appreciate him. You're always criticizing him, always trying to change him, but I accept him exactly as he is. I tried to change him, I said. I tried to change him when I asked him to help with dishes, when I asked him to remember our anniversary, when I asked him to show up when he said he would. That's me trying to change him? You're so dramatic, Jessica said. Everything is always such a big deal with you. You turn everything into this huge production. I mean, look at this wedding. It's ridiculous. All this money for one day. All this stress. Robert and I, we just want to be happy. We just want to love each other without all the drama. That's when I slapped him. Hard. Right across the face. My palm connected with his cheek and the crack echoed through the ballroom. 200 people gasped simultaneously. He stared at me in shock, his hand going to his face. The skin was already turning red. And then his face twisted into something ugly. Something full of rage I'd never seen before. You crazy. He slapped me back. The force of it turned my head. I tasted blood. My ear was ringing. For a second I couldn't see straight. The room erupted in in chaos. People were shouting, screaming. My dad was suddenly there, getting between us, shoving Robert backward. My brother-in-law, Tom, was pulling me away. My mom was crying. Amanda was yelling something I couldn't make out. Through all of it, I heard Jessica scream, "Robert, no! What are you doing?" And I saw her face, the horror on it, the sudden realization that maybe, just maybe, she'd made a mistake. That maybe the man she'd been building up in her head, the man she thought she loved, wasn't who she thought he was. That's when the police arrived. Turns out my mom had called 911 the second Jessica walked into the ballroom. They'd been waiting outside trying to figure out if they should intervene or if this was just wedding drama. But assault? That they could intervene for. What happened next is kind of a blur. Two officers came into the ballroom, a man and a woman, both looking extremely uncomfortable to be interrupting what was supposed to be a wedding. "Sir," the male officer said to Robert, "we need you to come with us." "What? Why? She hit me first." "This is self-defense. Everyone saw her hit me first." "Sir, you struck her in the face with enough force to cause visible injury." The officer gestured to my lip, which was bleeding onto my dress. "That's assault. We need you to come with us now." They put him in handcuffs. Right there in his tuxedo, in front of 200 wedding guests, in front of his parents and his friends and his boss from work. They read him his rights while he screamed that this was unfair, that I'd started it, that he was the victim here. Jessica was frozen, just standing there in my dress with her mouth open, watching the man she loved being arrested. "This is your fault," she said to me. Her voice was shaking. "You did this. You ruined everything. We could have done this nicely. We could have told you in private, worked something out, but you had to make a scene. You had to be dramatic. You had to ruin it." I laughed. I couldn't help it. It was all so absurd. I ruined it? "Jessica, you stole my wedding dress. You crashed my wedding. You tried to marry my fiancé at my ceremony. And somehow I'm the one who ruined things? You don't understand," she said. She was crying again, mascara running down her face in black streaks. "You don't know what it's like to really love someone, to feel that connection. Robert and I, we're soulmates. We're meant to be together." "Then be together," I said. "After the wedding, after you told me like a decent human being, after you gave me the courtesy of ending things before you started something new. But don't stand there in my dress and tell me I'm the problem." Jessica looked around at the ballroom full of people staring at her, at the police leading Robert away in handcuffs, at the ceremony that would never happen, at the mess they'd created, and then she ran. She tried to run right out of the ballroom, but the train of my dress was so long that she tripped after about 5 steps. She went down hard, landing on her hands and knees. Amanda was there in seconds, standing over her. "That's stolen property," my sister said coldly. "You can take it off here, or you can take it off at the police station. Your choice." "You can't be serious," Jessica said. She was still on the floor, the dress pooled around her. "You want me to strip right here, in front of everyone?" "You wore it here in front of everyone," Amanda said. "You can take it off here in front of everyone." For a long moment, Jessica just knelt there, crying. Then slowly she stood up. Her hands went to the buttons on the back of the dress, but she couldn't reach them all. My mom walked over. Without a word, she started unbuttoning the dress. Jessica was sobbing the whole time. "I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I didn't mean for this to happen. I love him. I really love him. Please, Rachel, please understand. I never wanted to hurt you, but you did," I said quietly. "You did hurt me. And now you get to deal with the consequences." My mom finished with the buttons. Jessica stepped out of the dress and handed it to my mother, then wrapped herself in someone's suit jacket and ran out of the ballroom in her underwear and heels. I just stood there in my backup dress with blood on my lip, watching my wedding fall apart. The ballroom was still full of guests. 200 people who'd just witnessed the most dramatic meltdown in wedding history. They were all staring at me, waiting to see what I would do next. And then something strange happened. My dad's friend Robert Miller, not my fiancé Robert, a different Robert, the man who was supposed to officiate the ceremony, walked up to me. "Rachel," he said gently. "Are you all right?" I started laughing. I couldn't help it. It was all so absurd. "Am I all right?" "Robert, I just got slapped at my own wedding by the man I was supposed to marry, who was planning to marry my best friend instead. So no, I'm not really all right." He smiled a little. "Fair enough, but I have a question for you." "What? Do you still want to get married?" I stared at him. "What are you talking about?" "Robert is gone. Jessica is gone. There's no wedding. But there are 200 people here," Robert Miller said. "People who love you. People who took time out of their lives to celebrate with you. And there's a beautiful venue, and food, and music, and a cake that cost more than my first car. And there's you. Strong, brave, resilient you who showed up today even though your world was falling apart." He paused. "What if we just had a party instead? A celebration of you, of who you are and who you're going to become. Of freedom and new beginnings and walking away from people who don't deserve you." I looked around the ballroom, at my family, at my friends, at my coworkers and my college roommates and the people who'd known me since I was a kid, at the flowers and the candles and the string quartet waiting to play, and I realized he was right. "Okay," I said. "Let's do it." Robert Miller gave a speech. Not a religious ceremony, just words about resilience and courage and finding out who your real friends are. About how sometimes the worst moments of our lives lead us to the best versions of ourselves. My dad gave a toast that made everyone cry. He talked about how proud he was of me for standing up for myself, for not letting Robert and Jessica turn me into a victim, for choosing myself. My mom followed with her own toast. "To my daughter," she said, raising her glass, "who taught me today that strength isn't about never falling apart. It's about getting up when you do." And then we had the best party of my life. The DJ played all my favorite songs. I danced with my dad and my sister and my niece, who was still throwing flower petals everywhere, even though there was no ceremony to throw them for. I ate my own wedding cake, chocolate with raspberry filling, exactly what I'd wanted. I took off my shoes and and danced barefoot on the ballroom floor until my feet hurt. Around 7 p.m., when the sun was setting and the ballroom was full of people laughing and dancing and celebrating, Catherine pulled me aside. "There's someone here to see you," she said. "He says he's a friend of Robert's." My stomach dropped. "I don't want to see any of Robert's friends. I think you'll want to see this one." His name was James Thornton. He was tall, with dark hair that was just starting to gray at the temples and warm brown eyes that crinkled when he smiled. He looked uncomfortable in his suit, like he'd rather be in jeans and a t-shirt. "Rachel," he said, "I'm so sorry about what happened today. Robert and I worked together at Henderson & Associates, and I had no idea he was planning any of this. If I'd known, I would have told you." "I swear." "Okay," I said slowly. I was exhausted, running on adrenaline and spite. "Thank you for telling me. But why are you here?" "Because there's something you need to know." He pulled out his phone and showed me screenshots of a group chat. "Robert has been bragging about this for weeks at work. He has this whole group chat with some guys from the office. They've been calling it Operation Upgrade. He's been showing everyone pictures of Jessica, talking about how much better she is than you, how much more fun, how much more spontaneous, how you were just a placeholder until he found someone better." Each word felt like a knife, but I kept reading. The messages were awful. Cruel jokes about me, about my body, about my personality, about how I was high maintenance and boring and not even that pretty without makeup. "Why are you showing me this?" I asked quietly. "Because there's more," James said. "Robert isn't just a bad person. He's a criminal." He pulled out a folder from his briefcase. "I've been working on an audit for our company's fraud investigation team, and I found some irregularities in Robert's accounts. He's been embezzling money from client accounts. A lot of money. Over the past 2 years, he's stolen approximately $800,000. My jaw dropped. $800,000? Give or take. I've been building a case against him for the past 3 months. I was planning to report it to the SEC and the FBI next week, but after what he did today, James handed me the folder. "This is all the evidence. I've already sent it to our company's legal department, the SEC, and the FBI. Robert is going to prison, Rachel. Not just for hitting you, for fraud, for theft, for about 24 federal crimes." I looked at the folder, then at James. My hands were shaking. "Why are you doing this? Why are you helping me?" He looked embarrassed, uncomfortable. "Because what he did to you was wrong. Because someone should stand up for you. And because..." He took a breath. "I've been in love with you since the Henderson Christmas party last year." I stared at him. "What? You probably don't remember me. We only talked for a few minutes. You were by the bar trying to get the bartender's attention, and I helped you order your drink. You thanked me, and we talked about the terrible playlist the DJ was using. You made me laugh so hard I almost spit out my whiskey." I had a vague memory of that night, of a tall guy with kind eyes who'd helped me when I was frustrated with the crowded bar. "I asked around about you the next day," James continued. "Found out you were Robert Chen's fiancé. I was disappointed, but I figured that was that. You were taken, you were happy, it wasn't my place. But then today, watching him treat you like that," his voice hardened, "I realized I couldn't stay silent anymore. About any of it." He looked at me intensely. "I know this is terrible timing. I know you probably need months, maybe years, to heal and process and figure out who you are without Robert. But I figured, what the hell? Today's already been the most bizarre day imaginable. What's one more strange thing?" I started laughing. Real, genuine laughter that made my stomach hurt and my eyes water. "You're in love with me? You've been in love with me for a year and you're telling me now? At my canceled wedding? After my fiancé just got arrested for assaulting me and you just exposed him as an embezzler?" "Yes?" James said it like a question, like he wasn't sure if this was going well or terribly. "I realize the timing is not ideal." "Not ideal," I repeated. I was still laughing. "James, the timing is insane. I know. I'm sorry. I just thought you should know. About everything. About Robert, about the money, about..." He gestured vaguely between us. "This, whatever this is." I looked at this man I barely knew. This man who'd just blown up his coworker's entire life to help me, who'd been carrying evidence of fraud for months and chose today, this day, to reveal it. "Do you want to dance?" I asked. James blinked. "What?" "It's my wedding party. I'm the bride, sort of. I get to dance with whoever I want. So do you want to dance with me?" He smiled. It was a good smile. Warm and genuine and a little bit surprised. "Yeah, I really do." We danced to an Ella Fitzgerald song, something slow and jazzy that made me think of old movies. James held me carefully, like I might break, and we swayed in a corner of the ballroom while my family pretended not to watch. "Thank you," I said quietly, "for telling me, for helping me, for showing me that not all men are like Robert." "You don't have to thank me," James said. "You deserve so much better than what Robert did to you." "I know," I said. And for the first time all day I actually believed it. We danced for 3 more songs, and then my feet really hurt from my shoes, so we sat down at one of the abandoned tables and ate wedding cake and talked. About our jobs, about Chicago, about our families. About everything except Robert and Jessica and the disaster that had been today. "What happens now?" James asked eventually. "I don't know," I admitted. "I go home to an apartment full of Robert's things. I cancel our honeymoon to Greece. I return wedding gifts. I change my relationship status on social media. I figure out how to be Rachel again, instead of Rachel and Robert." "That sounds exhausting," James said. "It is. It really is. Can I help?" I looked at him. "You've already helped so much. I could help more. If you want. No pressure, no expectations. Just as a friend who happens to have tomorrow off and access to a truck." I smiled. "You'd help me move Robert's stuff out?" "I'd help you burn it in a dumpster, if that's what you wanted," James said seriously. "Though legally, I should probably advise against that." I laughed again. I seem to be doing that a lot around James. Laughing when I should be crying, smiling when I should be falling apart. "Okay," I said. "You can help. As a friend. As a friend, friend, James agreed. The party went until midnight. People danced and ate and drank expensive champagne that Robert's parents had paid for. The DJ played I Will Survive as the last song, and everyone sang along at the top of their lungs while I stood in the middle of the dance floor with my family around me. When it was over, when the last guest had left and the staff was starting to clean up, I stood in the empty ballroom and looked around, at the flowers, at the table decorations, at the remnants of what should have been my wedding. "You okay, honey?" my mom asked. She'd been watching me from across the room. "Yeah," I said. "I actually am. You were so brave today," she said. She put her arm around me. "I'm so proud of you." I didn't feel brave. I felt terrified. "Being brave doesn't mean you're not scared," my mom said. "It means you do it anyway." That night, I went home to my apartment alone. Robert's things were everywhere. His clothes in the closet, his toiletries in the bathroom, his books on the shelves. Evidence of the life we'd built together. The life that had turned out to be a lie. I didn't cry. I thought I would, but I didn't. I just felt numb, empty, like I'd used up all my emotions for the day and had nothing left. I texted James, "Still up for tomorrow?" He responded immediately. "Absolutely. What time?" 9 a.m.? "I'll provide coffee and boxes. I'll bring the truck and the muscle. Try to get some sleep." I did sleep, surprisingly. Dreamless, deep sleep that left me feeling more rested than I had in weeks. The next morning, James showed up at 9 on the dot with a truck, boxes, and 2 of his friends who introduced themselves as Michael and Tyler. "We heard you needed help moving some trash," Michael said with a grin. It took 6 hours to pack up Robert's entire life. His clothes, his books, his electronics, his collection of expensive watches, his gym equipment, everything that made this apartment ours instead of mine. "Where do you want us to take it?" James asked when we were done. "His parents' house in Naperville," I said. I'd already called his mother that morning, had a tense conversation where she'd cried and apologized, and asked if there was any way Robert and I could work things out. I told her no. Absolutely not. Never. She understood. Or at least, she accepted it. When the apartment was empty of Robert's things, it looked bigger, lighter, like I could breathe again. "Thank you," I told James and his friends. "I can't tell you how much this means." "Anytime," Michael said. "Anyone who does what that guy did doesn't deserve help moving. He deserves this." After they left, I walked through the apartment alone. It was mine now. Just mine. No Robert, no wedding plans, no future that had turned out to be a fantasy. My phone buzzed. A text from Jessica. "Can we talk, please? I need to explain." I blocked her number without responding. Another text, this time from a number I didn't recognize. "This is Diane, Jessica's mom. I'm so sorry for what my daughter did. You deserved better. You always deserved better." I saved her number and texted back, "Thank you. That means a lot." Over the next few weeks, more details came out. Robert was officially charged with embezzlement, fraud, and assault. His bail was set at $500,000, which his parents couldn't afford. He stayed in jail. Jessica tried to visit him once. He refused to see her. Turns out when your life falls apart, the person you thought you loved isn't quite as appealing when they can't provide the lifestyle they promised. James and I kept in touch. We'd meet for coffee once a week, then twice, then 3 times. Just as friends, like we'd agreed. But the friendship felt like something more. Something with potential. 3 weeks after the wedding that wasn't, James took me to dinner at a little Italian place in Lincoln Park. "I need to tell you something," he said, halfway through our pasta. "Okay," I said. My heart was beating fast. "I know we said we were just friends. I know you needed time and space, and I've tried really hard to respect that. But Rachel, I can't keep pretending I don't have feelings for you. Real feelings. The kind that make me check my phone every 5 minutes hoping you've texted. The kind that make me smile like an idiot when I see your name pop up." He took a breath. "I know it's only been 3 weeks. I know that's not enough time. I know you're probably not ready. But I had to tell you, because I can't be around you and pretend I just want to be friends when what I really want is to be with you." I looked at him across the table, at this man who'd helped me on the worst day of my life, who'd shown me that not all men are liars and cheats, who made me laugh when I wanted to cry. "I'm not ready for anything serious," I said slowly. "I'm not ready to move in together or meet each other's families or talk about the future. I need to figure out who I am without Robert first." James nodded. He looked disappointed, but not surprised. "But," I continued, "I'd like to try. Slowly. Really slowly. Dating. Seeing where this goes. If you're willing to be patient." His face lit up. "I can be patient. I can be so patient. Glacially patient. Geologically patient." I laughed. "You don't have to be that patient." We took it slow. So slow it was almost painful. Our first kiss was on our 4th official date, at the lakefront, watching the sunset over Lake Michigan. We said, "I love you," for the first time 3 months later, during a thunderstorm in my apartment while we were making dinner together. 6 months after my wedding that wasn't, Robert went to trial. I had to testify about the assault, about the wedding, about the messages James had shown me, about everything. Jessica was there, sitting in the back of the courtroom. She'd cut her hair short and dyed it blonde. She looked different, smaller, somehow. During a break, she approached me in the hallway. James stepped between us immediately, protective, but I waved him off. "What do you want, Jessica?" "I wanted to say I'm sorry," she said. Her voice was quiet. "I know it doesn't mean anything now. I know it doesn't change what I did, but I am sorry. I was selfish and cruel, and I destroyed our friendship for a guy who turned out to be exactly what you warned me he was." "What I warned you?" I said. "Jessica, I didn't warn you about anything. I didn't even know you two were together. Before," she said, "in college, when I was dating Tyler and you told me he was cheating on me. I didn't believe you. I thought you were jealous, but you were right. And you were right about Robert too. About what kind of person he really was. I just didn't want to see it. So now you see it, I said. Great. Do you want a medal? She flinched. I deserve that. I deserve a lot worse than that. Yes, I agreed. You do. I know this doesn't fix anything, Jessica said, but I wanted you to know that I regret it. Every day. I lost my best friend for a guy who stopped returning my calls the second he got arrested, who blamed me for ruining his life when I tried to visit him in jail, who told me I was clingy and desperate and he never really loved me, he just wanted to hurt you. Despite everything, I felt a small pang of sympathy. Small, very small. I'm sorry that happened to you, I said, and I meant it, sort of. But Jessica, you made your choices. You chose to steal my dress. You chose to crash my wedding. You chose him over our friendship, and now you get to live with those choices. I know, she said. I just wanted to say I'm sorry, and that I hope someday, maybe not now, maybe not for years, but someday, you can forgive me. I looked at this girl who used to be my best friend, who used to know all my secrets, all my dreams, who I'd thought would be in my life forever. Maybe someday, I said, but not today. She nodded and walked away. I never saw her again. Robert's trial lasted 2 weeks. The prosecution had mountains of evidence. The embezzlement, the messages, the assault witnessed by 200 people. His lawyer tried everything, claiming temporary insanity, claiming I'd provoked him, claiming the embezzlement charges were a misunderstanding. Nothing worked. The jury found him guilty on all counts. The judge sentenced him to 15 years, 5 for the assault, 10 for the financial crimes. His lawyer tried to argue for leniency, for a reduced sentence, for house arrest instead of prison. The judge wasn't having it. Mr. Chen, she said during sentencing, you're a man who had everything. A good job, a loving fiancé, a bright future, and you threw it all away for greed and cruelty. You stole from your clients, you betrayed the woman you claimed to love, and you physically assaulted her when she confronted you about it. You don't deserve leniency. You deserve exactly what you're getting. I didn't cry when they led him away in handcuffs. I didn't feel triumphant or vindicated. I just felt empty, relieved, free. Outside the courthouse, James was waiting for me. He took my hand without saying anything, and we walked to his car in silence. How do you feel? He asked once we were inside. Lighter, I said. Like I've been carrying something heavy for so long, and I finally got to put it down. Good, he said. That's good. James, I said. I need to tell you something. He looked worried. Okay, I love you, I said. I know it's only been 6 months. I know it's fast, especially after everything with Robert, but I do. I love you, the real you, not some fantasy version I built up in my head. And I want to see where this goes. For real this time. James smiled, that warm, genuine smile that made my heart skip. I love you too, so much, and I want to see where it goes too. We moved in together 8 months later. A new apartment, not the one I'd shared with Robert. Something fresh, something that was just ours. A little place in Andersonville with a small balcony and room for 2 cats who were delighted to have more space. A year after the wedding that wasn't, James proposed. For real this time. No drama, no stolen dresses, no secret affairs. Just him and me on that same balcony watching the sunset, and him suddenly getting down on one knee and pulling out a ring. I know this might bring up some stuff, he said, and if you're not ready, I completely understand. But Rachel, I love you. I want to spend my life with you, and I promise, I will never, ever let you down the way he did. I said yes. We're planning a small wedding, just 30 people, family and our closest friends. And this time, I'm not worried about the dress or the venue or the flowers or any of it, because I learned something from that disaster at the Blackstone Hotel. I learned that a wedding isn't about the perfect dress or the Instagram photos or the 200 guests. It's not even really about the ceremony. It's about choosing someone who chooses you back. Every single day, even when it's hard, even when you're tired or grumpy or wearing sweatpants with your hair in a messy bun, even when the dishes pile up or you forget to text back or you have a bad day at work. Robert didn't choose me. He chose himself, his wants, his needs, his pleasure, and Jessica chose the same thing. Herself, her desires, her fantasy of being with someone she thought was better than what she had. But James chooses me. Every day. Every moment. And this time I'm choosing him right back. Sometimes people ask me if I regret anything about that day. If I wish I'd handled it differently. If I'm angry about the money we lost. The humiliation we endured. The fairy tale that turned into a nightmare. And honestly, no. Because that day, as horrible as it was, gave me something I didn't know I needed. It gave me clarity. It gave me strength. It showed me who my real friends and family were. It showed me that I could survive something that felt unsurvivable. And it led me to James. To real love. To the kind of relationship I didn't even know was possible. The kind where someone sees you at your absolute worst. Broken and bleeding and falling apart and doesn't run away. The kind where someone helps you pack up the pieces of your old life without asking for anything in return. The kind where someone is patient while you heal. Where they understand that trust has to be rebuilt slowly. So yeah, my fiancé slapped me over a dress and tried to marry my maid of honor at my wedding in front of 200 guests. But I survived it. I more than survived it. I won. And the best part? The absolute best part? I heard through James's friend Michael, who still works at Henderson and Associates, that Robert is miserable in prison. His cellmate snores. The food is terrible. He has to work in the laundry for 12 cents an hour. He's gained 40 pounds because the only exercise he gets is walking in circles in the yard. And every single day he has to live with the knowledge that he destroyed his own life. That if he'd just been honest, just been a decent human being, he'd still be free. He'd still have a career. He'd still have respect, but he didn't. He chose cruelty. He chose deception. He chose to humiliate me in front of everyone I knew, and now he's paying for it. As for me, I'm planning my real wedding, the one where I'll walk down the aisle to a man who actually loves me, who actually chose me, who will actually show up. We're getting married in a small ceremony at the Chicago Botanic Gardens next month. Just 30 people, like I said. My sister is my maid of honor. James's brother is his best man. We're wearing whatever we want. I found a simple tea-length dress at a vintage shop for $200, and James is wearing a navy suit he already owned. There's no expensive venue, no elaborate floral arrangements, no 5-course meal, just a short ceremony, some good food, and the people we love most in the world. And you know what? I'm not even nervous this time, because I know without a single doubt that James will be waiting for me at that altar, that he'll have tears in his eyes when he sees me, that he'll mean every word of his vows, that he'll still be there tomorrow and the day after and the day after that. And this time, when I say I do, I'll mean it too, with my whole heart. The other day, I was cleaning out a closet and I found the backup dress, the simple ivory one from Patricia's shop, the one I'd worn on what should have been the worst day of my life. James asked me what I wanted to do with it. I think I'll keep it, I said. As a reminder of what? He asked. That I'm stronger than I thought. That even on the worst day of my life, I didn't give up. I kept going. I threw myself a party and danced until midnight and started over. James pulled me into a hug. You're the strongest person I know. I wasn't always, I admitted. I used to be the kind of person who made excuses for people who didn't deserve them, who ignored red flags because it was easier than confronting the truth. But that day changed me. For the better? He asked. Definitely for the better. Last week, I got a message on LinkedIn from someone I didn't know. A woman named Melissa, who worked at Henderson & Associates. I hope this isn't inappropriate, she wrote, but I wanted to thank you. I've been dating a guy from work for 6 months, and I recently found out he's married. When I confronted him about it, he told me his wife doesn't understand him, that they're separated, that he was going to leave her anyway. But then I heard about what happened with you and Robert Chen, and I realized I was being fed the same lies. I ended things with him today. Thank you for being brave enough to stand up for yourself. You probably saved me from making a huge mistake. I showed the message to James. You're a hero, he said, only half joking. I'm not a hero, I said. I'm just someone who refused to be a victim. That's the same thing, James said. Maybe he's right. Maybe standing up for yourself, refusing to accept betrayal and lies, choosing your own dignity over someone else's comfort, maybe that is heroic. In its own small way, I texted Melissa back, you deserve better. Don't ever settle for someone who makes you feel like you have to hide or share them with someone else. The right person will choose you, openly and completely, I promise. She responded with a heart emoji and thank you. That means everything. So that's my story. That's what happened on May 15th, the day I was supposed to get married. It's been a year and a half now. A year and a half of healing, of growing, of learning who I am without Robert or Jessica or the life I thought I was going to have. And you know what? I like who I've become. I'm stronger now, more confident, less willing to make excuses for people who don't respect me, more aware of red flags, more protective of my own peace. And in a few weeks, I'll walk down an aisle covered in fall leaves and marry the man who helped me discover that version of myself. Not because he changed me, but because he gave me the space and support to change myself. That's what real love is. Not fireworks or dramatic gestures or stolen dresses and public confrontations. Real love is someone who helps you move your ex's things out of your apartment without judgment. Someone who waits patiently while you figure out who you are. Someone who celebrates your strength instead of feeling threatened by it. Someone who shows up every day in all the small, quiet ways that matter. Robert and Jessica taught me what love isn't. James taught me what it is. And for that, despite everything, I'm grateful. So if you're reading this and you're in a situation like I was, if you're making excuses for someone who doesn't respect you, if you're ignoring red flags, if you're staying because it's easier than leaving, please don't. You deserve better. You deserve someone who chooses you first, always, without hesitation. You deserve someone who makes you feel safe and valued and seen. You deserve real love. And if you don't have that right now, that's okay. You can still choose yourself. You can still walk away. You can still start over. I promise. It's worth it. The morning of my wedding to James, I woke up without anxiety. No panic, no doubt, no what ifs. Just peace. My sister helped me into my vintage dress. My mom did my makeup. My niece Sophie, now 5 and much better at not throwing too many flower petals at once, practiced her walk down the aisle. Are you ready? Amanda asked me. I looked at myself in the mirror, at the woman I'd become, at the life I'd built from the ashes of the one that burned down. Yeah, I said. I really am. And I was.